Okay, so a bit ago I made a short about what is and isn't an isekai. I mentioned that a friend sent me an actual academic study about it, and I lost track of where that was and didn't read it. Found it now. Let's go over it. The biggest thing I find interesting about this is that this report breaks down isekai into 4 types: portal, immersive, intrusion, and liminal. The thing I was defining in my previous short was mostly portal fantasy, the idea that someone from a normal world travels to a fantastical world. Immersive isekai are just stories where the story takes place in the fantastical world the entire time, which to me feels like it's losing a tiny element of what makes an isekai, but I mean, I get it. A lot of these stories tend to have the same kind of tropes. Liminal isekai are interesting because they're where the real world and the other world cross over. They give a few examples in here, but one that, after reading their definition of it, comes to mind for me is The World Ends With You. You're in, you know, modern day Shibuya, but you're functionally a ghost on another plane of reality where a bunch of monsters and stuff were wanting to fight you. And then I found the intrusion style of isekai pretty interesting, because I was using Digimon as my litmus test and being like, Digimon has isekai and non-isekai stories, because half the stories are urban fantasies in which the Digimon come to reality and the gang has to deal with that. That is classified under the intrusion genre of isekai, in which the other world comes to you, you don't go to it. The study also points out that there's a lot of different types of other worlds that can classify as isekai. It can be literally another reality, but it can also be defined spatially, like a different land or planet, temporally, like a different time, past, future, or whatever, sort of like Inuyasha does that, or just being different, which also means that other world stories can also include historical fiction and travel stories and military stories and speculative fiction, which it's all a broader net than I think a lot of people would categorize it as, but I think that's neat. This study in particular goes specifically into portal stories and all the tropes that kind of show up there, but does leave the door open for potential similar studies on the other kinds of isekai like intrusion or liminal or whatever. So I'd like to see those in the future. This report itself is actually pretty interesting. I will leave a link to the full Library of Illinois article that you can take a look-see at. It's pretty neat.